Welcome to another addition to the Anger Management Control Program. I am Dr. Deli M. Tingamy, your certified anger management specialist. And if you'll go to angermanagementcoaches.com, you will see my webpage. You can go there. There are blogs there. You can subscribe. It'll come directly to your mailbox. Also, you can go to my Facebook at Anger Management Coaches and see the latest update on that. So, getting right into our subject, anger and anger management. Today, we're going to talk about how anger affects your health. I knew a young lady one time who had changed her life around, but her past followed her. So when her past followed her and caught up with her, there were things that occurred that she no longer wanted to do or want to be a part of that caused her to get angry. And when she got angry and upset, her GI tract was affected. So I'm going to give you some tips today and talk about things that will help you, not to hurt you, but to help you. Again, you can go to my Facebook, Anger Management Coach. You can go to angermanagementcoaches.com. I'm found on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and LinkedIn. So we're going to talk about today. People always ask, how does it affect your health? Some of the short and long-term problems that have been linked to unmanaged. That's when it affects your health, when the anger is unmanaged. It includes headaches, digestion problems, as I talked about, such as abdominal pain, insomnia. Do you know you can't sleep when you're angry, when your anxiety is up high? Depression. It can cause high blood pressure. They diagnosed me long ago with situational high blood pressure. Excuse me. So I went on the medication and it bottomed out my blood pressure. And I had to learn some techniques to calm myself down if I felt myself getting angry. Then they decided I was depressed. So they put me on depression medication. And I, again, learned some anger management. And I no longer take Buspar, y'all. I promise you I don't take it. It can cause your skin to break out. You can have a rash or, eczema. But the last and least of all of these you ever want to happen is to have a heart attack or stroke. Now, that's just how bad. You have said it. Some of you have said, I won't say everybody, but some of you, girl, if you don't quit, I'm going to have a heart attack. Girl, if you don't quit, I'm going to have a stroke. Now, stop it. That's your emotional health. That is your emotional health. It is it's being impacted by your inability to manage your anger. Remember, you the boss. You own your anger. I decide who makes me angry and how I'm going to handle it. On yesterday, I put in a request for Sears to come and repair my refrigerator. It was making a noise. So I called Sears. I went online. Brilliant me. And I placed an order because the refrigerator was making noise. It was still keeping cool, but it was making noise. Well, I was afraid that the compressor was going out on it. So, I unscrewed the little paper bag back there and I dusted it and I, got out all the dust. It wasn't much. So I kept thinking, maybe a little bit. But then the noise I heard was up higher. So I go to bed that night. The noise had ceased, or me thinking I had fixed it. I got up the next morning and checked the freezer, and some of the food was beginning to thaw, and the ice in the ice maker was beginning to melt. So, I got anxious about it, and I called Sears, and I told them I had to have a date earlier than the 26th. My food was in the refrigerator. If anybody know Pastor Tingamy, you will never come to my house and be hungry. Even if you're a vegan, I got food for you. So I called. And if I can tell you that I called and called and called, and they gave me 7 people. I had to find my own repair person. And then when I found them, I had to call them back and tell them to give the work order to that person. Well, I was on the phone from 10 in the morning to 3 in the evening. I made 25 phone calls to Sears to the repairman, and they gave me two 65-minute recalls and one 70-minute called me back. Well, I could remember a time that would never have worked with me, because the first person to answer that phone, I would have leaped on them like they were a T-bone steak, and I was a hungry lion, because I'm going to get you. Which it was not the person's fault who answered the phone, because each time you call, you get a different person. They ask you the same questions over and over and over again. They don't make notes unless you request it, so the person can refer back to the notes. And all during this time, I felt myself getting more and more anxious about this situation, because y'all, 25 calls and no recourse and no answer was a bit much. But I think about the 23rd call, I remember anger management, and I floated off mentally. I mentally went to Tahiti, and I was in a grass-covered hut. The sea was so blue and so pretty, and Douglas, my Shih Tzu, was running around, and I was laid back with a glass of ice-cold lemonade. And the music was soft, the wind was blowing, the birds were chirping, and you all, I went so far when the person came on the line and said, "Man, I can help you," I couldn't even remember. I said, "And who are you, and who are you?" And finally, I said, "Oh, yeah, I did call you." So it does work. It does work. So I was able to carry on a conversation with that person. Of course, it wasn't resolved, and I had to call back 2 more times. But if I had allowed it, it could have ruined my physical health for the day. 25 times to get one item fixed is a bit much. Well, I'm transparent. I tell it on myself. I kept sitting here, and the refrigerator kept beeping like the door was open. So I kept looking at the door, and I'd get up and I'd open the door and I'd shut the door. A few minutes later, it would beep. And I said, "Oh, what could it be? What could it be? What could it be?" So I looked down to one of the drawers that was in there, and one of my Ziploc bags was hanging over the drawer. So every time I closed the door, the bag was there. And the bag was stopping the door from closing completely. Now, see, I could have got all mad and upset when it was my fault that the door was not, because I kept putting things on that shelf instead of taking them off and putting them in the freezer, and it kept the door from closing. So needless to say, I would have been mad at the people, mad at myself, but all I said was, "Well, I'm glad I found out the problem." I canceled the appointment with the tech I finally found. He called me back to the day, and I told him I wouldn't be needing him. And he said, "Did you call Sears?" I tried. I went online. They wouldn't allow me. They wanted me to make another appointment. So I'm glad that I am talking about anger and how can it impact you. Because, at one point I let it slip away, and I thought, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," my head. And they hung up on me. I mean, this was like from 10 to 3. So I'm going to tell you 7 ways anger can ruin your health. Constantly losing your cool can hurt you more than your relationships. Do you know that being able to be ticked off so quickly ruins relationship? Don't nobody want to be around you. Don't nobody want to be around you. Constantly losing your cool. Don't say nothing to her. Don't say nothing to her. The girl, she'll go off. People who are habitually angry also report feeling sick all the time. My head hurt, my stomach hurt, my leg hurt, my knee hurt, my back hurt. They're angry. If you ask them how they feel, be prepared for an answer, because they got one for you. They're going to start at their head, and girl, it went on, and you're sitting there listening, and all of this stems from the fact, I said, "Well, what happened to you yesterday?" "Girl, so-and-so made me mad." Okay, so that's where you get it from. And that quote comes from Ben Sconwilly. I'm just quoting what he said. Sometimes anger can be good for you. You heard me on my broadcast talk about how I used anger to become, to have a PhD. And if you don't, go back and look at that video. If you address quickly and express in a healthy way, not pointing your fingers at you, express it in a positive and healthy way. In fact, anger may help some people think more rationally. If I say something to make you angry, next time, and it could have been offensive, next time I get ready to say something to you, I'm going to think about how I need to say it and what body language I'm going to use. Because, my people say that my face tells us 1,000 stories. And it's nothing I have tried. You all have tried, I've tried. When I'm counseling a patient, I keep my head down, I write on a piece of paper because I'm thinking that they are going to read my face, that I either agree with them or disagree with them. And that's not my job. That's not my job. In fact, anger may help some people think rationally. However, unhealthy episodes of anger, when you hold it in, oh my God, for a long period of time, turn it inward, you wind up exploding like the 4th of July works. You go into a rage, a pure rage, and you wreak havoc on your body, If you're prone to losing your temper, I'm going to give you some simple reasons to stay calm. Number one, it's all about me right now. I got to stay healthy. An angry outburst can put you at risk for a heart attack. I know some of you been so angry, you grab your chest like Fred Salmon, Lord Elizabeth, I'm coming. I'm coming, Elizabeth. And you hold, because it really affects you physically. Most physical damage is in angers. If it happens to the heart, on your cardiac health. Some people have gotten angry and they feel their pulse just boom, 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 and all they haven't run, they just got angry. We're going to talk about anger outbursts and a chance of having a heart attack doubles. And this came from a psychiatrist by the name of Aikens, A-I-K-E-N. They talk about how it affects the body. And then Forest University of Medicine, the director of mood treatment in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, is also a person who's done studies. So, this anger thing is not a joke, y'all. It's not a joke. Repressed anger, where episodes are where you expressed it indirectly to get great lengths of what you need to say out, but you also get great lengths to control it. But it's all associated with heart disease. One study found that people with anger proneness as a personality trait were at least twice the risk of having a coronary artery attack than other less angry peers. You are hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. To protect your ticker, your pumper, that thing that's about the size of your fist, you need to identify and address what the problem is. You need to identify and address what's making you lose control. You need to find constructive anger, the kind where you speak up directly to the person and you say and deal with the frustration in a problem-solving manner. I gave an example the other day. Is I was talking to an agent on the phone, and every time I went to make a statement, she talked. She'd ask me a question before I could answer it. She talked. Well, nobody was getting anywhere. So I told her, now, dear, we can sing together, but we can't talk together. Therefore, you're not listening to me. And I'm going to wind up repeating the same thing. So after that, she didn't even say, thank you, ma'am, I'm sorry, go ahead. She just shut up. I could tell from her vibes through the phone, she was now angry. Sorry, but I had to get my point across. So when I finished, you could have counted 1001, 1002, 1003, and then she spoke. Now, I addressed that behavior right then because I needed her to understand. I am not a tech person. I'm not an IT person. I'm not computer savvy. And she needed to know that what she was saying was going too fast for me. So she slowed down. Anger can set you up for a stroke. Y'all feeling numb on the side, start slurring your speech, tingling in your fingers, your face is drooping. Those are signs of a stroke. If you're prone to lashing out, beware. One study found there was a 3 times higher risk of having a stroke from a blood clot to the brain or bleeding within the brain during the 2 hours after an anger outburst. For people with aneurysms in one of the brain arteries, there are 6 times higher risk of rupturing that aneurysm. And when it bursts, and that's 2 hours after you done got mad. 2 hours after. It takes your body that long to calm down. But if you put your anger management in effect, you can reverse that. Here's some good news. You can learn to control your anger explosions to move into a positive coping. You must first identify what your triggers are and figure out how to change your response. Says Mary Firsted, PhD, a professor of psychiatry and psychology at the Ohio State University. Instead of losing your temper, just take some deep breaths. Through your nose and out your mouth. Through your nose and out your mouth. Breathing. You gonna do that or you're gonna die. So go ahead on and breathe. Use assertive communication skills. You might even need to change your environment. Get up and start walking away. Just get up and walk away. Say, I'm going to go for a walk. And it may be to the mailbox and back. And at my house is on the incline. So believe me, when I get to the mailbox and back, I'm pretty calm because I'm tired of climbing that hill. Anger weakens your immune system. If you already suffer from pernicious anemia or iron deficiency anemia, or you have an immune disease that's causing sickle cell, HIV, AIDS, or anything like that, and you allowing people to make you angry, if you're mad all the time, you just might find yourself feeling sick more often. In one study at Harvard University, they found that in healthy people, simply recalling an angry spirit from their past caused a 6-hour dip in levels of antibody immunoglobulins A, the cell's first line defense against infection. You know, with this pandemic going around and everything, we don't need to be doing anything that cause our antibodies to drop, especially the A. 4 ways to let go of anger. If someone who's habitually angry, protect your immune system by turning a few effective coping strategies, assertive communication, effective problem solving, using humor, or reconstructing your thoughts to get away from that black and white or all nothing thinking. These are all good ways to cope, says the doctor, but you've got to start by calming down. You've got to calm down. Anger problems can make anxiety worse. If I had already been anxious when I was a little anxious because the food is defrosting in the freezer and I can't get through, but there's nothing I could do about it. And the moral of the story is I fixed it myself. It was my fault. I fixed it. I would have paid $100 deductible for them to come to move a bag. So I fixed it myself. If you're a worrier, it's important to note that anxiety and anger can go hand in hand. In a 2012 study published by CBT, Cognitive Behavior Therapy, researchers found that anger can exacerbate symptoms of generalized anxiety disorders. If you just, you have a tendency to be anxious anyway, and then somebody somebody, and then you get angry, it interferes with your daily life. I got to go lay down. You intended to mop the kitchen floor, which you probably should have went ahead and mop, because that would have relieved your anger. Believe me, the way I like my wooden floors to look and my carpets to look, yeah, I would have gotten better. Not only were higher levels of anger found in patients with generalized anxiety disease, but hostility. They hit, y'all. They hit people. They hit people, along with internalized, unexpressed anger in particular, contributes greatly to the severity of the GAD symptoms. You want to boost your brain capacities. As I've either told on Facebook or I told you here, when I was growing up, I was a cusser. Yeah, cute me. A lady told me by the name of Maud Borges. She said, "Della, you're a beautiful woman." I never thought I was beautiful. Beautiful girl, and I never thought I was beautiful. She said, "But your mouth is so filthy." And she said, what I say to that shows the level of your intelligence if you can't think of another word besides a cuss word to say. And I've said that to grown people, and they say, "Oh, no, that ain't true. That ain't true." Sometimes a cuss word is all they say. They're euphemisms. Okay? You can use euphemisms. Take your total brain's mental and physical fitness test. Anger is also linked to depression. There are a lot of studies that have been done that depression and aggression and anger outbursts, especially in men that are in depressive or passive anger modes, where you ruminate about it and never take action. Women, men have been sexually abused, physically abused, psychologically abused, and they just held it. And they never had the opportunity to approach the person who did it or who caused it, and they never dealt with it. So they in turn lash out because they have internalized, and that's what they use as their mechanism. I remember when I was younger, I used to think if anybody did anything for me, they wanted something. And that's the environment that I grew up in. I take people to eat. I don't care if the bill is $155. If I ask you to go, I'm going to pay it. If it costs $2, I'm going to pay it. I don't mean when we go out next time, you pay. But that's the way I am, because I used to think that if a person did something for me, they wanted something in return. One piece of advice for someone struggling with depression mixed with anger is to get busy and stop thinking about it so much. I know you say it's hard. Dr. Tingamy, it's very hard to stop thinking about it. No, it's not. No, it's not. There are other avenues and other things that you can do to stop thinking about that thing. If you're not going to do anything about it, stop thinking about it. The other thing is, you can go to angermanagementcoaches.com and you can make an appointment with me, and we'll do it virtually. And if you remind me, your first 30 minutes is free. I am under the HIPAA guidelines, so it is a safe place for you to come. You can do any activity that fully absorbs your attention and is good for anger. I crochet. I'm not angry, but I crochet. And counting the rows and the stitches and making sure they're right takes away from anything else I can think about. So I have to stay concentrated. And you can do crocheting, golfing, needlepoint, painting, biking, running, whatever, jogging, or go sit in the park. These things tend to fill up your focus and it gets your mind off of the fact that you're angry. It will soon go away. Number 6, hostility hurts your lungs. Hostility hurts your lungs. Not a smoker. Hostility hurts your lungs. You can still be hurting your lungs if you are perpetually angry, always angry, hostile person. Again, Harvard did a study with 670 men over 8 years using the hostility scale scoring to measure anger levels and assess any changes in the men's lungs function. The men with the highest hostility ratings, lungs were significantly worse. The capacity was worse. So therefore, they were at risk for respiratory problems. Can you imagine anger doing that to you? You know, you ever seen somebody like this, man, they just have panting. They can't stop. They can't stop. You have to keep saying, calm down, take a breath, drink some water. They theorize that a uptick of stress hormones, which are associated with the feelings of anger, creates inflammation in the lungs. And you thought getting hot and getting cold made you angry. Well, you did get hot. You got hot, angry. And then you calm down. But in the meantime, you've affected your heart. You had a chance for a stroke. Your lung capacity is decreased, and your immune system has been affected. So now inflammation is in the airways. Number 7, anger can shorten your life. Now you think it is really true that happy people live longer. Stress is very tightly linked to general health. If you're stressed and angry, you will shorten your lifespan. Now, you think if you get angry at the wrong person and you lash out the wrong way, you might catch a bullet. You might catch a knife. You might catch a fist. You may catch verbal abuse or emotional abuse. So if you get angry, if you're stressed and angry, it'll shorten your lifespan. Over a 17-year period, they have studied and found that couples who hold anger have a shorter lifespan than those who readily say they're mad. All right, I'm upset now. Just leave me alone. It's not bad. That means for them to go away and leave you alone until you can calm down. Now, if you constantly getting mad, going in the bedroom, slamming the door, going in for a drive, you need to go to angermanagementcoaches.com and set up an appointment with Dr. Tinkerman. If you're not someone who's comfortable showing negative emotions, then work with a therapist, Dr. Della M. Tinkerman, your certified anger management specialist. And I will help you express your anger in a healthy way. Look, my house needs cleaning. My closets need straightened out. I promise you, I can get rid of your anger. If someone infringes on your right, you need to tell them directly what you're mad about and what you need. You need to tell them. It makes me mad when you leave dirty dishes in the sink. It makes me mad. I get angry. Let me rephrase. I get angry when there are dirty dishes in the sink that you put there. I get angry when you put food partially eaten out of a bowl with a spoon in the bowl in the refrigerator. I get angry when you sit and play video games all day long. I get angry because you're not showing me any affection. I get angry because the car is dirty and you haven't washed it. I get angry. I'm pointing to myself. I'm focusing on me and my mental health because it's all about me right now. It's me being healthy. It's me taking control. I am the boss of my own anger. Remember, it can affect so many parts of your life until you lose control. These are just some pointers I want to share with you on today. Anger management is real. It's really real. And today we wanted to talk about how it affects your health. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and you can go to, you can like and share on YouTube, or you can go to Facebook and Twitter, or Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr. I think and Lincoln. I want to say thank you for taking your time to listen. I hope this video has been informative and helpful to you. And until we meet again, I want you to know that you are the boss of your anger.